Hello Rocky Mountain students, and welcome to our final video update for the fall semester. Believe it or not, we made it, and that's very exciting. I'm sure many of you feel a serious sense of accomplishment and stress all at the same time, but for the most part, your assignments for me should have turned in. I would really appreciate if you would take the time to complete the course evaluation. Those are very helpful for future planning and to have on record for Rocky Mountain and Dr. Simpson and myself in planning to always improve this course in the future. Some final thoughts I want to share with you at this time is that I have really enjoyed growing with each of you this semester. I am thoroughly impressed with the work that's been submitted by each student. At the graduate level, there's always this expectation of students going beyond the minimal requirement, and that is no question did any of you submit subpar work. It was always exceptional to read your assignments. Everyone always had very inquisitive questions, and questions that definitely will improve assignments in the future, and so that's greatly appreciated. There was always open and honest communication with everybody, and I felt like that made the semester very smooth. I really do try to practice the leadership techniques that I teach, and I try to make sure that what is being taught is not only relevant but also practiced in my communication and my leadership, but that's definitely a two-way street, and I've learned a lot from each of you this semester as well, while many of you are juggling work, life, school, family, etc. And it's been really exciting watching each of you grow this semester as well. I do hope that the information you have learned feels very applicable and very manageable, and things that you can immediately put into place to make your future a little bit more leadership centric and really grow and advance the profession of speech language pathology. We've talked about so many different things, but this is just scratching the surface. To be completely transparent, I believe at the end of my 3 years of my doctoral program, I felt like I knew less about leadership than I did when I started, because of so many unanswered questions and constant change and just how to handle things in the real world when this really nice recipe cookie cutter theory sits right in front of you, but how do you really practice it, or how do you make it applicable to your setting or your situation? And that's where the rubber really meets the road, and you walk the talk. You don't just say you're going to do something, you really do it. And at the end of the day, I think our goal is to always just practice things that are going to improve our patients' lives, improve patient outcomes, advance our professions. And that's a tall order, but it's what we all are striving to do in the long run. Again, I feel like you all might have learned or feel like you've learned a lot about leadership that you wish you would have maybe known sooner, but I promise you that another great feature to a leadership scholar is being a lifelong learner. And I'm constantly looking in the literature and trying to figure out what's best practice and figuring out how my little part fits into this larger machine, really, of healthcare, because it's challenging, and a lot of what we deal with on the challenging side is stakeholders who just don't understand what our purpose is, or trying to help find money and to find lobbyists to advocate for us and legislation, and much of that becomes political, and that's just a whole nother realm of layers of complexity and change and moving parts that we really don't have control over. So at the end of the day, the impact you have is much larger than you perhaps realize. So just keep that in clear focus for yourself, because sometimes when we're in more troubling times and feel as though we have no voice, or people don't know that we're a stakeholder, or we don't understand our organization's values and future directions or mission, or we don't feel like communication is transparent, or we just feel like leadership has failed us, we have to really keep our eye on the prize. And that's being the best leader we can be. And now you have a little bit more of a formal understanding of that. I think moving forward, if you find yourself in a more formal leadership identified role, you can really appreciate all that goes into it a little bit more and feel more equipped to handle that successfully. Or really, when you're asked to join a different, coalition for a professional initiative, if you don't feel like your vision fits into theirs, then sometimes it's okay to step back and say no, because you don't feel like the value, or you don't feel like the conversations that are had are gonna meet your personal philosophy on leadership. I know sometimes I personally deal with that in my profession. I'm asked to join committees and professional groups for advancement all the time, but it's a floundering group that has no mission or isn't chaired or guided well, and it's just, you can get burnt out from being a leader, and you need to know your limits. So I really hope everything we talked about has come full circle for you with your final assignment and this wrap-up discussion. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll maintain my Rocky Mountain email, but my personal email is E as in Elizabeth, J, just the letter J, Walters. So EJ Walters, the number 2 at gmail.com. And you can reach out to me there. I would really enjoy keeping in touch with all of you in the future, and I wish you the best of luck in the final weeks of your fall semester at Rocky Mountain and future success in finishing your degree.